Hi everybody. So today I am taking this 1992 GTR to the Sagami Land Transportation Office, or LTO as we call them here in Japan. I have to pay my weight tax. I did a base inspection, so I have to get that verified and I'll get credit for the shaken inspection then. So off we go for a nearly 40-minute drive to go nothing more than 7 miles and deal with bureaucracy. Let's go. Alrighty then, we have arrived at LTO. Sorry I didn't do a little bit of a commentary on the way in, but driving here can be a little hectic as it is, and I needed the navigation to get here, so nothing inbound. But anyway, the LTO. So there are no less than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6 government offices here, including, if you can kind of see behind me, that inspection station. Yeah. So I am not going to do the inspection here. I did mine through the base. In fact, I did it through Camp Zama. The Japanese government has some sort of interesting agreement with the SOFA status personnel where if they do an inspection on base and it passes, you only have to come here to process the paperwork. And there's, I think, a VIN verification that they do, but we're going to see what happens with that here. I am not going to take the camera in with me. They get really sketchy about that. Just kind of seeing the camera out and us recording things. What can I say? But I'll let you know what comes out on the other end. But anyway, here I am, Sagami LTO. I'm going to go in the Scribner's office. It's on the far side. Let me scoot this around here. Okay. And let's see if we can do a pan. Anyway, back in there, not D, but to that side of D by the vending machines. That's where the Scribner's office is. Scribner's office is. And that is where this adventure will start. So, let's go. Oh, and I have a pile of paperwork. As I said, there's a pile of paperwork that goes along with this. I've got a couple different tax forms here, a mandatory insurance form, I've got my old registration, I've also got a base inspection and some other things in here. Yeah, there's just all sorts of insurance and oh, that's my, I'll talk about that in another video. That's my self-shaken inspection attempt. There's the base waiver for the old JCI. And we'll break down the difference between JCI and shaken and all that stuff too, because there's a lot of confusion about that stuff. But anyway, here we go. Okay, so here's some of the wacko paperwork you're going to get through this process. So if it's a Scribner's office, they're going to charge you 900 yen for what they call a paperwork fee. That gives you this piece of paper and this one, and then you go over to the weight tax booth, which gives you all of these stamps, and these stamps relate to the weight of the car, and like I said, it's a ton of government bureaucracy, but this is what you deal with here in Japan, is bureaucracy upon bureaucracy. Sorry for the background noise. Those are the doors opening and closing, but yeah, so as the process goes. Okay, so that building is now complete. That was building A. Building A. That's where kind of the inspection starts under normal circumstances. There's some windows in there that say inspection all over them. We go to the one on the very end. It's the one that has a little bit in English. Don't know why that one's different than the rest. Just where we have to go. It's where everybody else was, so I'm not really sure what those other windows are for. But let's see if I can turn this around and show you what we've got going on so far. Okay, there's the receipt for weight tax and inspection. The weight tax is actually this top one here, from what I can tell. Forgive me, my kanji is terrible. And the bottom one is actually the inspection fee. All right, and that's echoed by these stamps here. So anyway, oh, sorry, I'm not aiming the camera correctly. So here's, anyway, remember this was the paperwork fees. All right, that goes over here. So this thing on top, this is my road tax. That's paid for your prefecture. In this case, it was paid for Kanagawa. This is JCI. I bought it through my insurance company. This is the actual Japanese compulsory insurance. This is the minimum legal insurance to put a vehicle on the road, kind of. We'll get to that in a second. Behind that flip is my old JCI paperwork. This is the new one. It actually isn't coming into effect because I'm doing this early. Ignore that, but that's more JCI paperwork, so ignore that part. Under that, this is my weight tax. Please be right with that. My weight tax receipt paperwork thing. All right, it says I paid $12.60, and there's the stamps, the tax stamps. Anyway, that's what that is. So that's echoed there for the $12.60. Yeah, and there's the weight of the vehicle, 1,480 kilos. And I'm gonna have to translate this all later. I'm wondering actually if I'm gonna get to keep this form. I don't think I do. I think this goes in some government file. So I'll probably screenshot this and do a little extra work. All right, behind that, this is actually an inspection paperwork. So this is what they would use when they're inspecting the car when it goes through the machines, various machines. But if I'm not mistaken, we get out of that because I did this on base. And we'll talk more about that later, depending on what we got going on here. And there's my old registration. So anyway, more to follow as we head for inspection line number 1. So this is inspection line number 1. As you can see, it's the only one without all the machines that all the other lines have. So this tells me that I'm actually not going to go through the full inspection, but I may walk you guys through that just to show you what that looks like. All right. As I discussed, it didn't look like it was like we were going to actually do the inspection, and we didn't. Sorry for the camera shake. As I suspected, because that lane had no machinery in it, we didn't do any of the inspections. The guy took a look at the VIN, he verified the VIN and the engine type, walked around the car, looked at the plates, looked at the mileage, and then he stamped. And they told me to come back to building A. So we're back at building A. And we've met with success. We have both of the things we came here to get. First is our new registration. All right, you can see down here, it now says how much I paid in weight tax. And it says how many miles were on the clock when I did it. This is rounded up, it's 1788. It doesn't really matter. 200 clicks, I'll be through that in a couple of weeks. But on my old registration, this just said it was paid because I bought it from another Japanese citizen. So there actually wasn't a number there. So coming in here today, I wasn't sure what my weight tax was going to be, and I'm really tired. Sorry about the door noise. But anyway, 12.6, that many miles, everything else is correct. And you get one of these. This is the new weight tax sticker, which will go, it's a reverse sticker. Side sticky, goes against the window, inside up by the mirror. And that's that. We're gonna head back to base now. All right, I was gonna make you guys a video of the shaken, whatever, inspection. But they are very, very adamant about not allowing photography in the inspection area. So much so that there's a sign about every 10 meters or so that tells you no photos authorized. It's the only sign in the entire place in English. Probably tells you something. Anyway, that is probably why, now that I think about it, why we are not allowed to do the user shakens here. I'll talk more about the user shaken in a minute. But if you don't read Japanese, the user shaken would be extremely... If you're a mechanic and watch a few times, you could probably get it. But if you're not, if you don't really understand what they're asking for, it would be pretty difficult. I'm not broken up about it. Camp Zamba did a great inspection on my car. It's a very simple process. You do get to drive through the garage. That's kind of a neat experience. But no, the reason I want to do the user shaken was you save yourself $30 from the base inspection, or $38, whatever they charge you for it. And more than that, I just kind of wanted the experience. One of the things about being in Japan that I like is doing things the Japanese way, and that's definitely a way they do it. Usually the car inspections are done by a shop. And what do I mean by that? What happens is, if you're in Japan, you have two options. You can go to a place like Autobox or any other garage, sometimes the dealerships offer it too, that will do a inspection. And what they do is they go through the car end to end and make sure it'll pass about a 60 point, I think it's 61 point inspection. that they technically do on the car here. And if they find anything wrong, they let you know about it and they offer to fix it. So they charge, if you can find a deal, again, this is for the Japanese, they have to go to a place like Autobox. They're going to charge, I've seen estimates, I've seen sales, I've seen all sorts of weird things, anywhere from about $400 US up to $700 US. That's just for the inspection that says the thing will then come here and pass the $18 inspection. So if that wasn't bad enough, those shops are like any other Jiffy Lube, or I shouldn't say Jiffy Lube, any of those oil change places that you know about in the United States that like to come in, you go for the $10 oil change, I tell you your transmission's about to explode. Unfortunately, the places here are pretty much the same, except they charge $700 for the initial inspection, not $10. Yikes. I've heard horror stories of people, expats, just Japanese citizens paying literally thousands of dollars to get this inspection done. What they do after they repair these things that you can't repair is they then take the car here to the LTO for you, and I actually saw a couple people wearing what looked like mechanics coveralls. It didn't say the name of the shop on them, but they definitely weren't the government employees from around here. Those guys all seemed to wear blue. These were khaki or beige or kind of green coveralls, some of them. And there was also some Japanese doing their user shakens in there. So the user shaken is, you download a form from the internet, you say you did the inspection, you run it through here. If anything fails, you have to take it out, get it fixed, whether you fix it yourself or whether you have a shop fix it, bring it back, run it through again. If it's good, it's good. If it's good, it's good. Why doesn't everybody do that, you say? Well, because not a lot of Japanese people have, one, the time, two, the know-how. They don't have the same culture surrounding cars here that we do, where everybody thinks they can fix everything themselves. A lot of people, they trust their technicians here. And so that's why they end up having the shops do it. And it's also why the aftermarket here, or I should say secondary market for cars, is so good, because these cars have been very well taken care of in order to pass that inspection. And it's a big deal. Obviously, if you're going to shell out $1,000, you want that thing to be good. But it's also why people get rid of old cars quickly. You find cars that are not even 10 years old here going for $2,000, $3,000, sometimes less, in fantastic condition. The other car my wife and I own is a Mazda. They call it the Demio here. I think it's the MX-2 everywhere else in the world, or the Ford FX-2. I think it's the same chassis. That we paid $2,000 for it, I think, and even with all the inspections and everything else, it came out to about $3,000 even. It's a 10-year-old car with about 40,000 US miles on it. So yeah, I think not even that many. No, it's 40,000 kilometers, so 25,000 miles. My conversion sucks. You can leave a comment. Chastise my conversion. It's okay. It's a long process for them. For me, it was very easy because of the ZAMA inspection, which gets me out of the concern about whether I'm going to pass or not. So anyway, that's just, you don't have to do, I almost said it. If you're a Japanese citizen, you don't have to do the big expensive shop inspection before you bring it here. I've heard of some guys at other duty stations. They either can do the user shaken and the LTO doesn't bat an eye, or their base does it all. I think Okinawa, you guys that are watching can tell me. I'm pretty sure Okinawa does it all in one. Misawa, I've heard you guys do it all in one, but then I saw a video that you guys just rolled the LTO and did the user shock in there. So, hey, whatever. And so that is the process up to here. I've got my paperwork. I've got my new sticker. I'm going to have to scrape the old weight tax sticker off and put the new one on. It looks quite a bit different. I don't know if that's because the prefecture, I don't know. Anyway, it looks a lot different. And but I'm seeing a lot of them around here that look like the one I have, so pretty good. Sure, I'm in good shape. I've got my new base sticker up there already. That came when I paid the road tax about a month ago, not even a month ago, a couple weeks ago. And I got the new registration. I've got my comprehensive insurance this year. And yeah, it's time to head back to base. I really wish I could run you guys through there, but if you ever want to know what it looks like here, just come on down to any LTO. They all have the inspection lanes. You can see what it looks like. There's actually a set up walkway that you get to go through and you can see how everything works. They even had video screens on this one that shows what they're looking for and how to do the check. And it's all designed for the user shotgun. User shotgun is getting very popular here in Japan because of the cost of taking your car to a auto box, you name it. I keep using that trademark name a lot too, just like I said, Jiffy Lube. Any of those garages that do JCI inspections or shotgun inspections. And yeah, so it's getting very popular. So I saw a lot of guys in there in civilian clothes just running their cars through for their user shotguns. New car, why would you be afraid of it? There's no reason to pay somebody $1,000 to tell you that your car's already good. And worst case scenario, you're out an extra $20 because you came through here for the user and it ended up being bad, so you had to run it out to a shop, said fix this so I can pass. You run it back over here, you pass, you're out maybe $40. That's a lot better than $1,000. I imagine that, like anything else, the market, now that that's getting popular, the market will drive down the price of the one at the shops. But hard to say. I want to show you one last look at the paperwork here too, since I've got you. Again, new registration, I talked about this indoors. It's got the amount I paid for the weight taxes, and it's got the mileage when the taxes were paid. What else we got here? All right, I said road tax, JCI, and I said old JCI. So let's get into some of the interesting things here. There's a date on this thing. It's basically the date of death, is I think what it kind of translates to. But it's date of expiration. And what that means is it's actually the inspection that they're referring to on this sheet of paper. That is the inspection date that it dies, all right? So there's two parts of this that you do here that you can really only do here, and that's weight tax and inspection. That's the inspection. Just so happens I did it on today, so the dates line up. There's my weight tax expiration. All right, year, month, day. So 31st year of the current emperor, 4th month, 18th day. I'm not sure how that works if the one that's on the seat right now is talking about abdicating the throne. So I wonder, do we have to get a new one of these, or do they just count it? They probably just count it. Anyway, some other interesting things that you get when you're here in Japan with a car, as my paperwork falls all over the floor, is this little guy. This is a recycle. Yep, recycle. It proves that I've paid to get this car in the junkyard before I bought it. Actually, this was paid by the original owner way back when. That's something that you have to have. You have to prove that you paid to have the car junked. This is actually like the title, if you will. It's different than the registration. Well, just like in our country, it's different than the registration. And this is actually who owns the car. And the other one has all the information on it. Let's see what else I got in here. Comprehensive insurance with enough coverage to replace this thing if I wreck into somebody. Got my early renewal paperwork from the base there. I don't care if you guys see my name. And there's the base inspection. Zama, thank you very much. Big shout out to Zama. They're great guys to work with. Take your cars to Zama. Nice guys. There's an inspection waiver from last year. Yada, yada, yada. Very good. All right. Oh, one thing I did want to show you guys, especially those of you who are on SOFA and paying your road tax, and you're saying, oh my God, that's expensive. This is a 300 plated car. You guys know what that means if you're over here. 300 series plate car, that means big engine. I paid, it's right here on the receipt, 19,000 yen, 180 something dollars for 1 year. 1 year. All right. Let me show you, if you lived in Gunma, prefecture north of here a little ways, what you would have paid for this exact same car for road tax last year. How do I know? Because the previous owner gave me his receipt so I could prove that the road taxes were paid for last year. Read it. Read that number. I'm going to let you do the conversion in your head. All right? Yup. You're seeing it? You're seeing it? See the difference? Yeah, not a joke. Yes, the previous owner paid nearly $600 in taxes on this GTR last year in Gunma. Cars are expensive in Japan. A little bit cheaper for us SOFA guys, a little bit. Didn't pay $700 for an inspection. Didn't pay $600 for road taxes. Yeah, We get a couple other benefits too, because we're considered senior drivers, because we've been driving since we're 16. The insurance is a little cheaper, I know, of all things. That's your compulsory insurance, not your JCI, very different. And so to rehash, there's a couple things. Some are every 2 years, some are every year. Every year, road tax. Every year. Every year, your compulsory insurance, or every 6 months, however you took out your policy. All right, that's just like any other insurance policy in the United States. It's car insurance. You can pay it monthly, biannually, or annually. I chose annually because it's actually just not that expensive here, surprisingly, and I think it's because of the JCI. Now, there are a couple things that you pay for every 2 years. First one, JCI, Japanese Compulsory Insurance, minimum government insurance. Do not confuse that with the inspection. Everybody does this. Do not confuse JCI with the inspection. They tend to line up, and so the colloquialism is JCI. But it's not. JCI is simply the Japanese compulsory insurance. You can get that here at the LTO. You can get it through any insurance company. I think you can even get it at some convenience stores. Don't know. I got it through my insurance company because I know they sell it there. 26,000 yen for me. Depends on the vehicle. I think it's the horsepower of the vehicle. It's very odd. Next. Weight tax. Weight tax. Every 2 years. It also lines up, as I mentioned, with the inspection. But it's not part of the JCI. It's the weight tax. You don't have to pay it before the inspection. Don't have to. You can go through the inspection, then pay the weight tax and the JCI. A lot of Japanese do that because if they have a car that's shot that won't pass inspection, they're not going to bother wasting their money on paying the taxes on that car if they're just going to throw it away or send it to auction, right? Okay, so every year, your insurance, your insurance, and the road tax every year. Every 2 years. Weight tax, shocking. Remember the third one? JCI. All right. So, if you have any questions or comments, leave them below in the space provided. Sorry for the quality of this video. This is all being shot with my camera on the iPhone 6S, I think is what this one is. And yeah, I just hacked it together with the Capture app, just playing around in my free time. But yeah, if you have any questions about LTO or the renewal process, or want to know what any of these acronyms mean or any of that, please feel free to get in contact with me. If you're in Atsugi, come say hi. I drive the bone stock 1992 silver GTR. Say hi, by all means. Send me a message. I'm on there. I'm sure you've seen my name on some of the documents. You can find me on the global. But yeah, feel free to ask any questions. And lastly, if you are in Japan, especially if you're a SOFA member, and you're looking to buy a vehicle, whether it's GTR, Supra, little econo box to get you to work and back, read your commander's instructions. Base instructions, regional instructions, local instructions, everything. Read those instructions. Do not, I repeat, do not go out there and listen to your buddies about the process of buying a car. Please go through the correct instructions. We see it at our level, the senior enlisted level, all the time. Guys get bad deals. They get talked into stuff that they shouldn't have gotten themselves talked into. They can't register a car. They don't have CO's permission to have a car. They're transferring commands and the incoming CO doesn't want them to have a car. There's just so many things. Please be very familiar with the instructions. If it doesn't feel right, it's not. Ask your supervisor. Ask somebody who's been in the country for a few years and knows how this stuff works. Go on YouTube. Watch this video. Come on down to my squadron. Say, hey, Chief, I don't know what to do with this, and I'll help you out. That's all I got for you guys. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe. First video. Woohoo! Thanks for watching. Bye.